No matter what your enemies have done to you, treat them with kindness. There are so many people in this world who literally beg to differ. I beg to differ from their begging to differ. People are not always perfect, and sometimes people's values don't align with yours. Sometimes people do messed up things. But in my opinion, always treat them with kindness. Always remember what a person does, but forgive them as well. There's certain people, there's only 2 that I can think of right now. Actually 3, I can think of 3. That you should never, ever trust. Literally, I will say this in the most family-friendly way possible. An older person that does illegal, bad stuff with a younger person. Or literally a person who threatens you with your, I'll say this, living. And also begins to do some actions that proves that. Those people you should not trust. They're too dangerous. Even if they become a better person, okay, let them become a better person for other people, but they scarred you, so be safe and don't trust them. All right? They've pretty much gone too far. As for everything else, you could eventually forgive and bring people back into your life, but you have to know if they've changed. And you have to give a lot of time before they come back into your life. If it's a very tiny thing, then let them come back into your life in quick time, but make sure they learn their lesson. But it just depends on what somebody has done. But in the end, whenever it comes to you speaking to these people, always treat them with kindness, no matter what they have done to you. There is a high chance that they have good morals. Now, sometimes they don't, and as for the people who don't, still be kind to them, but don't speak to them that much. You really don't, because you don't really want to be talking to those people. As for the people that you know who have good morals but have still done so wrong to you, you can speak to them for a little bit. Only if you want to, but always be kind to them. Now, let me give an example. If they are literally actively threatening living of someone that you really care about, then of course, don't be kind and be like, you're a good person. Now, of course, you need to tell them in the moment, that's not right, that's not good. I don't like that you're doing this, stop. And then you can show off all angrily. But once everything cools down and it's been a while and they're regretful for what they've done, treat them with kindness.
Subscribe to JB dragmotoxboss for millions of IQ. Also be sure to join my Discord server, JB's Palace.
I'm a Christian, and not everybody watching this video is a Christian, but I believe that everybody has no issue with following what I'm about to say. There's a lot of things in Christianity that it literally does not hurt to do that Christians do. In fact, it even helps you. In my opinion, Christianity is just a really good religion. All right. There's a saying called, what would Jesus do? Jesus is a guy who never at all holds grudges, no matter what someone does. Always forgives, no matter what someone does. Now, we're humans, and of course, you need to be safe, so you can't trust people who cross the line for your own safety. Don't ever act on violence. Don't ever be mean, call people names. Be nice to them. If they're not nice to you back, then don't speak to them. Just don't speak to them. Walk away. It is the best way to de-escalate a situation. It is also the best way to just make a person just be like, wow, I really think that person is really mature and I appreciate them. So I do have a group of, they're not really enemies because the beef is pretty much gone these days, but people who used to be enemies. Out of everybody, I only talk to occasionally one of the enemies. Why? Because the rest of them, either they went too far or I was never really close to them. But there's this one person I was really close to a year ago, and I still talk to him occasionally. And I know for a fact that he said that, well, something along the lines of this. I don't know if he said this exactly, but something along the lines of that he appreciates the way I act, and even after everything he has done to me, that was wrong. And it makes him respect me more. I think he said that anyway. I don't know. If he didn't say it directly, he probably means that at least. It makes him appreciate me more. It makes him never want to go after me again. Now, of course, the situation that happened, I've explained this on stream many times. I was in the wrong for certain things, but there's this group of people who went too extreme on certain things that, to this day, I don't agree with them going that extreme on. but I've improved myself and the beef is gone. Everything is just pretty much gone. At this rate, the only people I really have to worry about are the corrupt YouTubers. But they're not really much of a threat at all. They just sit in their corner and they just act corrupt. Not really that disruptive. Not really ever a threat to me. You also feel extremely good about yourself, extremely powerful, extremely happy that you act like this in front of your enemies. I have dived deeper into my religion earlier this year, and that has caused me to have this mentality. I used to literally, well, I hate to say it, I used to literally sometimes talk a little bit bad about people who get banned from my community just to be like, oh, I can't believe that person was doing that. I vent about it a little bit on stream, and then I would be like, yeah, I'm glad that person's out of here. But most of the time, usually, I would just let it go after that. But the thing is that I did not need to talk about that at all. It sets a very bad vibe. Sometimes can make people feel uncomfortable. At the same time, it could start dramas. And it's good to have a drama-free life. It's good to not really have that many dramas, not really that many worries. It's good to keep the peace. It's a good thing to be friendly and to even be partial friends with enemies. Not a bad thing. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. It's better to have life drama-free than to worry about example setting in that exact scenario. Explain that you're doing this to keep the peace. Explain that. Make sure to explain that so that people don't get confused. So then quickly that won't be an issue anymore and you won't have to worry about the perspective of how that looks. Sometimes in life, bad things will happen to you. It's bound to happen. Now, I want you to think of this. Would it be better going through those times knowing that there are people who do not like you because they're your enemies? Or would you rather going through those times knowing that you've made peace with all the people who used to be your enemies? Or are at least neutral with all the people who used to be your enemies? Now, of course, you cannot control certain levels of people being your enemies. Some people, they just act completely unreasonable. But if there is a respectable way for you to not be enemies of someone, take that route. Take that route. Because trust me, it is better to have people not against you and just neutral or on your side rather than to have a bunch of people against you. It only makes life worse. In fact, it could even cause your mental health to not do so well as well, which is not good. That is if you decide not to make peace with your enemies and stay mad at them and have them still as your enemies.